Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. A UK website has claimed that Anthony Joshua's camp has given Deontay Wilder a deadline as Alexander Povektin fight looms. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, shout out to the express.co.uk, their sporting section. Link is in the description. They have some quotes from Eddie Hearn. He says, "We've got a situation with Povektin where probably next week the WBA will call for purse bids, then it takes another 2 weeks. Something like that for the purse bids. I think realistically 2 weeks is the absolute deadline." So he's saying the clock is ticking. We're speaking very frequently, and to be fair, Deontay, he understands. It's not like he's moaning about it. He always feels like he'd have to come to the UK, and like I said, they made a strong offer. Some of the points or some of the clauses in that offer weren't acceptable. Some were. We could have talked about them, but it was a decision from the team that the first one should be in the UK. We want to go in September, and either is going to be most likely at this stage Wilder or Povektin. Both tough fights. By the end of the week, I want to be in a position to know if Wilder wants the fight. End quote. So, I want to give my thoughts on this. Shout out to the express.co.uk. Listen, things are definitely going to be very interesting to see what is decided. And as far as the channel, either way we win. Either we get what we want, the fight that I told you I believe should be next, or he's going to go another route, which I told you is there was definitely a high probability of that. And Team Joshua, I think if they go the route of Anthony Joshua, they will have talked themselves into a corner, meaning there's not really many ways to explain pursuing a guy like Povektin over Wilder, right? Let me give you guys some insight as to what's going on. So I can't wait. They're saying about another week or two we should know who Joshua is fighting in September. I absolutely cannot wait, because it's going to be some really great news, or it's going to be some news that some people expected, right? And then they can be like, told you. But here's the thing when it comes to this Joshua situation. Team Joshua as a collective they've all said a lot of different things. In my opinion, a lot of loopholes and contradictions to what they've said. I could give you a few, or I can give you a lot. If I gave you a lot, I'd be here all night. You know what I mean? But just to give you guys a few things, Eddie Hearn did an interview with Fight Hype, and he had this whole scenario played out on the interview where he says, you got to look at it. Joshua is a big star, and he could fight a guy for, let's say, anybody for $20 million. So why would we fight Deontay Wilder for similar money, a little bit more, like let's say $27 million, right? That doesn't make sense, because it's a massive risk. Massive. So he's basically, just to paraphrase, because I don't have the quote exactly in front of me, but this is information that's common knowledge. I've reported about it. I've talked about it. Like I said, you can go to Fight Hype to watch the interview. It was a one-on-one interview. There's really no distractions in the interview. But to paraphrase, to sum up what he said, give you a synopsis, Eddie Hearn says, basically, why would we take a massive risk in a dangerous fight like Deontay Wilder, right, when we could get similar money fighting anybody? That's basically what he's saying. But you have to unpack what was just said. That alone, that one simple statement has several Team Joshua contradictions. For starters, how is it a massive risk when Eddie Hearn is on record also saying that Joseph Parker is a tougher fight for Anthony Joshua than Deontay Wilder? Fact. Eddie Hearn said that. And Joshua corroborated that. So how is it this massive risk if you just said the guy that Joshua just got past in a unification, Joseph Parker, is a tougher fight? Where's this massive risk? You already beat Joseph Parker, so Wilder should be easy, right? So that alone doesn't make sense. In addition, he said something about why should we fight for 20 million and we could get 20 million with anyone. Why should we fight Wilder for 27? Wilder's team offered you almost double that, or a double 25 million, which is 50 million, right? So using those numbers he was saying in that video, he's saying similar money. 50 million is not similar money, right? That's double 25. 25 times 2 is 50, right? So that puts you in a whole different stratosphere when you're talking. It's not like going up from 20 million to 27. You're talking about a different bracket because, like I said, it's doubled 25, right? Which was very similar to the numbers he used. He says we could fight anybody and get 20 mil. Why would we fight Wilder for similar money, 27? But they offered you 50, so that's not similar money. That's $50 million. And then Joshua's team came out and says, we're in a position where we worked hard to build this brand, and this first fight deserves to be in the UK. We're willing to lose upwards of $20 million. Lose in terms of they can't offer it. Wilder says he will fight in the UK, but Joshua got to take a pay cut from that initial deal. He has to lose the 20 million because that deal was a all-inclusive package, travel package, if he were to come in, because that's where they can generate the money in one of these major cities, most likely Las Vegas, maybe New York, to pay him out. But they can't promise him that amount, and they wouldn't promise him. Why would the B side, their connects or their investors, they came up with the money. They corralled that money. So if Wilder has to travel, why would they come up with that same split, you know what I mean, and give Joshua the hometown advantage? It doesn't work like that. But anyway, that's what Eddie Hearn says. He says, why should we fight Wilder for similar money? And that was proven false because the $50 million is not similar money to that example. And they declined it, stating that they deserve to be able to fight in the UK and give it to fans. But as Floyd Mayweather so eloquently and famously said, he can't fight for you. The fans can't fight for you. So ultimately, hometown advantage, I mean, if you can have it, of course, you're going to take it. But the fans can't fight for you. Kell Brook got his eye bashed in by Golovkin at home. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if the intangibles and the attributes you are to lose, then that's just what it is. If there's a difference in skill, power, someone connects, or whatever the situation is. But the fans can't fight for you. So to me, that alone is pretty silly from Team Joshua, that they would be willing to lose $20 million plus potentially by giving themselves hometown advantage. Like, is that worth it to fight at home? You get what I'm saying? Especially another kind of loophole or contradiction is Joshua says he wants to be boxing's first billionaire, or he wants to be a billionaire that came out of the sport of boxing, right? And I think Floyd Mayweather's already generated $1 billion. But nonetheless, that's what Joshua said. He wants to be a boxing billionaire. So putting yourself in a position where you turn down making 20 million more, I have to question how badly you want that goal of becoming a billionaire. If you can turn down a deal that would give you 20 million more, package A gives you 50 million and package B gives you similar money, you know what I mean, 20 million or whatever, maybe similar to what you got in the Klitschko fight, and you're willing to turn it down. So it's going to be real interesting to see what is decided if they go with Povektin. Another thing, like I said, the walls are closing in on this situation, and we're going to know real quick what's what once it's announced who Joshua decides to fight. And I can't wait for that moment to see. Hopefully it's Wilder. You know what I mean? There's a chance that maybe it could be Wilder, but it looks like it's pointing more towards Povektin to me. But hey, I will announce it once it's announced to the public. I'll announce who it actually is once they announce it. You know what I mean? And I can't wait for that opportunity in that moment. But the Povektin fight, it is solid, but Eddie Hearn's already on tape admitting that a unification, I think it was on the same Fight Hype interview, admitting that a unification would trump a mandatory. So I understand that the Povektin situation, he's your mandatory, and it satisfies that, but it's too late because Eddie Hearn already admitted on camera that a unification trumps that. So they could, if they got a deal done with Wilder, they could justify fighting Wilder next and not Povektin. See, if Joshua wanted to fight, let's say Dillian White 2, or if he wanted to fight somebody else that was not as mandatory, like Manuel Char or something, right? Then that probably wouldn't fly because the mandatory situation, you would be ordered to fight him or get stripped. You know what I mean? But you can justify it. Most sanctioning bodies will back down if they understand the implications. It's a big fight and it's a unification big fight, right? Point blank, period. So that's the latest. Link in the description. Let me know what you guys think. I hope it's Wilder, Joshua Wilder, but the article says Povektin Looms, right? So it looks like that's probably going to be the easier fight to make. And like I said, a lot of this stems from Team Joshua doing multiple interviews and putting out different information, right? Joshua also did an interview where he has a do-rag on, he's in a car, and he says he doesn't want Povektin next. So if you end up fighting, what happened? How are you in a position? Why did you turn down 50 million? Why are you on tape saying you don't want Povektin next if you are going to fight him next? And if Joshua fights in Russia, then that's going to also poke holes into what's been said from the Joshua camp. You get what I'm saying? Like, why are you not willing to travel to America for Wilder, but Eddie Hearn says you were willing to travel to America for Gerald Miller, who's from Brooklyn, and Hearn mentioned AJ fighting Miller in Brooklyn at the Barclays, where he's from. Wilder's from down south. He's not even from Brooklyn, right? So why would you potentially go there for him? And if you fight Povektin in Russia, why are you willing to fight on his hostile ground for less money than 50 million? And I do believe whatever was offered from Povektin's side in World of Boxing will be left less than 50 million. Why would you do that? So best case scenario for Joshua is, if he is going to fight Povektin, that he's fighting him in the UK, not in Russia, because that would be a contradiction in itself. And he has a deal with Wilder in place should he win. That's the best possible situation. And even that has, you know what I mean, there's elements where people are going to say he ducked. They're going to say he ducked Wilder. But, I mean, that's the best possible situation. At least if he doesn't fight in Russia, if he fights in the UK, then he could stay true to the statement of we built our brand and we're fighting here. But I know there's a lot of money in Russia. I know World of Boxing has a lot of bread. So they offered you a better package to fight in Russia. So if you actually go there and collect that bag, but you didn't want to collect the American $50 million bag, then that tells you something. So either way, I can't wait to see what's decided and what's next for boxing. Let me know your thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.